Hi guys, today we are carving our yarn bowls. While the piece is still soft, I go in with this yarn bowl spiral guide that I 3D printed and just give it a little wiggle into the clay. I used to have to trace a little piece of paper when I cut these out, but now I can just use my 3D printed tool. These are actually the only tools that I sell right now, so if you're interested in getting some, they are on my Etsy shop. But back to carving, I always find when I'm carving yarn bowls or carving orchid pots, the easiest, cleanest cut you can get is by not lifting up your knife. Once I'm finished gently carving out the spiral, I like to add these little scallops to the edge. Because the clay is still quite soft at this point, I have trimmed it, but I like to trim these on the softer side. I'm going to leave that spiral in. And it's going to dry that way until it reaches about a hard leather hard state, and then I'm going to go in and clean everything up. Here's that spiral all dry. And for cleanup, the first step I like to do is get away any extra little nurdles of clay. Sometimes I'll use my fingers, and then other times I like to use just a loop tool. This is the same technique that I use when I'm making orchid pots. I know I'm going to go back in and clean up the cut and bevel the edges slightly, so getting off any little extra balls of clay is a great way to just make my life a whole lot easier. And you'll notice through this whole process I'm supporting that spiral because even though it is now dry, it is still quite thin and can be bumped off and broken. So with my X-Acto knife, I'm just going to go in and take off any extra clay that I can. Having these surfaces rounded is really important because you're going to have yarn going through them, and you don't want anything left behind for them to snag on. I have considered making a cookie cutter like thing instead of using the yarn bowl spiral just as a cutting guide, but if you're going to go and push a cookie cutter into it, you need it to be made out of metal, like the round ones I use to make those holes, or have it be not super complicated. Unless you can get it to give you a crisp cut, probably most likely through a flat surface, you're just going to end up warping your bowl. I tried it out using some aluminum flashing and it just didn't end up working out. Once all that extra clay is carved away, I just go back in with my sponge and clean off all the surfaces. I'll let this guy dry a little bit more and then it will be ready for slip trailing. Thanks for watching!